Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the iHeart Radio Network, the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. Bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America. Thank you so much for following the Big C Sports Show. Also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. You good old boys up in Canada, I want to say, oh, Canada, a home and native land. Big C, I don't know if Jeffrey Osborne could have sang it any better than that, but there's no one I love more than you good old boys down south in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys?
I guess Jeffrey was going wonderful, Jonathan, and I'm wondering if I should share any trade secrets with you, or would I be hit with obstruction of justice laid anything out for you before the program, and since we don't have any teleprompters or producers.
That's so funny. Today is a beautiful May the 16th, 2017, and so much going on in the world of football and basketball and baseball. Football is year round, and we have the CFL starting up next month, and the NFL and the CFL, they're doing this. They're having 12 officials that will take turns officiating games to give them more experience, and so that's a good blend to have the CFL and the NFL actually mixed a lot of the officials, because a lot of the players played together in college, Big C, and so that's a good thing coming down the line. Also, we over here in the Bay Area tonight, a little bit of overcast game, but Golden State, I think they got past the biggest upset we could have seen probably in the last couple of seasons, Big C, but by winning that game against San Antonio. Baseball is also in full swing around the country. The NHL, we're looking for the Lord Stanley's Cup, but Big C, what's going on with POTUS in the White House, Big C?
You're funny, Donald Trump. This man, I don't know if he even has a grasp of reality.
Yeah.
It's like he sends his people out there, Charlton, with these lambasted stories.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, the next day he's chopping their arms off.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's about there with it hanging in the wind. They can't even zip up their pants. Okay?
Yeah.
This is where he is.
Yeah.
And even the most loyal of followers got to be wondering now, where the hell is this going?
Yeah.
Because it is not going according to being the president of the United States. This is a little more buffoonery that we're stepping into right now.
Yeah.
And here it is that he may be hit with obstructions of justice as early as next week, Charlton,
Yeah.
if it comes to fruition.
Yeah.
When he went out and asked, Jim Comey, and he asked Jim Comey to let this go with Michael Flynn. Now, if his dossier comes back and shows this memo was printed prior to him being fired, that's obstruction of justice.
Oh, yeah.
Trump really has some legal powers that he can't fire people on. Okay?
Yeah, that's true.
Because he committed this act. Now, you think about it. I still haven't heard anything from Trump as of late about jobs that he's creating in America, about making America great again, about making America strong. All he's doing right now is dodging bullets that he's shooting from his own gun.
Well, that's a crazy thing that you bring up, Big C, because I believe and I hope that we have a great country. And I've been Democrat and Republican at different times in my life, and I just hope that for the sake of democracy, that we don't become China, that we don't become a North Korea, and that we don't become Russia. I just think it's ironic that, Comey was fired, and the good old boys that Comey's investigating that deal with Donald Trump showed up in the White House the next day. And there's some good old boys that work trying to support Trump saying, yeah, but, you can always meet with people, state officials, not the people you were investigating, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, not the people that got your security secretary fired.
Yeah.
These are the same people you fired Flynn over. You fired Flynn because he's meeting with these guys. Then you fire Comey and you bring these same guys into the White House. There's got to be some correlation to what's going on there, Charlton.
Yeah.
But you also ask Comey to end the investigation and not investigate Flynn any further. And you have these people, and not only that, Charlton, you trade intelligence secrets with these people. They talked about all this unmasking.
Yeah.
Trump unmasked intelligence.
Yeah.
They were helping the U.S. Now, how are these allies going to feel that Trump can walk in and tell where this intelligence comes from. Now that's going to cause these ISIS strikes in that country, okay?
And that's a shame.
That Trump unmasked this country. Now they're going to have these ISIS strikes on their civilians because of what Trump has done.
And
Trump has gone even further, Dalton.
Yeah.
In firing Comey and trying to get the investigation stopped and asking him to stop it. That's obstruction of justice.
Oh, yeah.
And even the dumbest of people who support him, even senators now are backing on Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, he's a joke.
It would be
Yeah,
in the White House without controversy. He's even tired of it.
Yeah, he's and in fact, he's a joke himself. And for someone, no matter who you believe in, he has so little respect for President Obama and even for Donald Trump. He has little respect for the presidency because he's allowed this to go on, and they tend to defend him. This is deeper than white skin privilege. This is about our country, and even for people who want to love Trump because they want to believe he's going to make them rich. At some point in time, even if you're a dumb person, you got to realize you're hanging out with the bad boys that are being investigated, and they're more welcome in the White House than the FBI. I do want to say this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Big C, as we get in more on just going on POTUS here in the Bay Area, there's so many people that talk about sports and politics. Ironically, a lot of networks tried to say, well, that's not appropriate. Well, out here at the Coliseum, because the Bay Area has a lot of intelligent people, Big C. A lot of people read a lot out here. They're not just looking to see who won the game. And just talking to some good old boys here, getting ready for the game tonight, San Antonio and Golden State. It is so ironic that Coach Pop, when he brought up the statements about Donald Trump being a joke, and he sees that everything is a comedy club, and he's really an offensive as a president, okay? Some good old boys here in Oakland and people from San Antonio, they have the same sentiments about Donald Trump. However, it's hard to find anybody on the radio outside of Big C Sports and CNN and MSNBC that say anything political. Is most of our country just willing to be dumb, Big C? Is that what you're finding? People just want to stay dumb?
Well, I don't know if it's dumb or just stupid. You got to decide which one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the obvious is the obvious.
Yeah.
What this man is doing to the country, doing to our society, and people who think that they're going to get money and make jobs, they already have them, okay?
Yeah.
Those executives already have those jobs. Those millionaires are going to continue being millionaires. That's not going to go away. Donald Trump is not going to do anything for the voting base
No.
that voted him into the White House. That's what America needs to understand. He is not their friend.
No.
They bought that bill of goods. You talked about health care. You can't abolish the Affordable Care Act. Because if you do, you leave millions of Americans uninsured. We've all heard that Obamacare is imploding, okay? So if it's imploding as Congress and the Senate, why don't you stop it from imploding?
Yeah.
Why don't you stop these health care providers from pulling out of
I'm
the
leaving.
states?
Yeah.
Why don't you force them to insure as the bill was planned to do?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any difference which insurance plan that you have as a nation, Dalton. The insurance carriers have to insure.
Yeah.
That's what the Americans don't understand. They think that all of a sudden Donald Trump is going to create this insurance coverage that's going to be so much cheaper. It still comes down to the insurance writers. It's just like everybody can understand what it's like to buy insurance on their car.
Yeah.
I don't have none. I got to check on that. They need to understand that you have to have insurance on your car.
Yeah.
They base it on the value of your car, the age of your car, and if you've had any previous existing traffic incidents, okay?
Yeah,
Justin?
yeah.
That's what health insurance is based on also. So to think that you get rid of the Affordable Care Act, all of a sudden you're going to make health insurance for everybody in America $50 a month because that's what Donald Trump has said. You're going to have something far much better than what you have.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you what it is. It's a secret.
Yeah.
So once we get rid of the Affordable Care Act and you're left out there with nothing compared to what you have,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out down the road because every politician,
Yeah.
and I've always stood by this, Charlton, if the politicians want to abolish the Affordable Care Act, abolish the insurance that you have while you're in office, while Americans are doing without insurance. Do yourself like you do the American public. But they won't do that. Donald Trump won't get rid of his health care Congress or the Senate.
No. And if you've seen the weight that he's putting on, they say stress causes people to gain weight or lose weight. Obviously, stress has caused him to gain weight. He must go to Dunkin' Donuts. I think that's a big franchise on the East Coast, Dunkin' Donuts. Them good old boys eating donuts all the time. Donald needs to get back on the... I think, wasn't it President Clinton that used to jog a lot? President Obama, we know he was in great shape. He jogged a lot. What's up with POTUS? Does he believe in exercise or just exercising his cheeks, Big C, when he tells so many lies, Big C? Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Not doing business in the White House on the weekends because he can care less.
Yeah.
Because he has done business for America. He keeps signing these executive orders.
Yeah.
What are these executive orders doing for jobs? What are these executive orders doing for health care? What are these executive orders doing for the restructuring of income tax?
Yeah.
Nothing. We've seen nothing from an executive order that's going to benefit the general American public. So general American public, please wake up. Stop being a sycophant to what this man is doing and what he's saying. He's used to being a businessman.
Yeah.
Not a politics. Politics and business are two separate entities.
Yeah.
You can't fire everybody because you're mad and you're scared, okay?
Yeah.
You can't. The country needs bodies and minds to operate.
Yeah.
You can't run this corporation by yourself, Jonathan.
No, you can't, and I think he's finding out. But this is my call. I mean, to dumb people, you can't even talk to an ignorant person because it makes you ignorant too. But for the people that know how to read, at least at a third grade level, just pick up the New York Times and the Washington Post and start reading about what's going on in politics. For a lot of people who are ignorant, they just want to see what happens on Fox News. Can't even talk to them. Yeah, just read them. Just reading is so fundamental, and I'm so impressed with a lot of the fan base from San Antonio that's out here in Oakland tonight, because they're not just talking about the game. They're talking about what's going on in our country, Big C. And as we talk about tonight's game, Game 2 at Oracle Arena, again, I still marvel at the fact that in 2019, Golden State will tip off from across the bay. They won't be here in Oakland anymore. They'll be back to San Francisco where they started. So this is a place where it's almost like buying the last couple of season tickets for the next 2 seasons, Big C. Your thoughts on them staying undefeated in Game 2 tonight, or do they let their foot off the gas, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Jonathan, you really can't. When you think about them, they played really poorly in Game 1, okay?
Yeah.
You had Durant with 34, you had Curry with 40. That's 74 points, Jonathan.
Yeah.
When you look at the rest of the team, you think about John Green.
Yeah.
He had a triple single in the game, okay?
Yeah.
Single points, single rebounds, single assists.
And he had one tech. He did get his one technical, though, okay? He had a triple dribble. That's what he had. triple single.
And you look at Klay Thompson, who only scored 11 points.
Yeah.
Iguodala is hurting with a knee injury, got some tendonitis. So this team really played subpar for having so many days off.
Yeah.
And you got to attribute that to not having game rhythm.
Yeah.
You think about Golden State, they're a fast-paced team, Jonathan.
Yeah.
They're not used to slowing it down, so they had to slow it down for almost a week.
Yeah.
Waiting on somebody to show up to play.
Yeah.
Now, it's disheartening that Kawhi Leonard gets hurt in the game, but this is sports, professional sports. People get hurt all the time. You cannot make a player being injured the focal point of the rest of the playoff series.
Yeah.
The rest of the team has to play. You got Aldridge, Mills, Green, Gasol. The rest of this lineup has to go out there and produce. You got Ginobili. You can't sit there because of Kawhi Leonard, we're going to lose. Because wasn't it about 5 days ago they were down in Houston, Jonathan, without Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah. Them good old boys.
They beat the hell out of the Rockets by 39 points.
Yeah.
Okay? So nobody used Kawhi Leonard as an excuse that night, Jonathan.
Yeah.
So you can't use him as an excuse. Yes, Golden State has much more talent than what Houston has across the board. But still, when you lose a player, the analogy in sports has always been next man up.
Yeah, next man up, especially in the Pop.
Next man up. And Pop has found a way throughout his 20-year career in the NBA to get that next man up.
Yeah.
Because he would not be the success mentally and physically that he has been throughout his tenure, Jonathan.
And Big C, you know what I'm impressed by? One of the things I'm disappointed by, I was trying to find Nate's Barbecue over here in Oakland. I know he's been a staple for a long time, and some of the greatest barbecue here in the East Bay over by Jack London, but I didn't have enough time to find it. And everybody that asked about the barbecue, I guess if it's so good, they don't want to tell anybody. I don't know if it's out of business or what it is, but that's a good barbecue. You hear a lot of good people cooking and tailgating out here in the Bay Area too. But I got to bring this point up. I'm gonna get your thoughts on it. When you talked about Kawhi Leonard, and you talked about him, I thought maybe Pop was trying to sell it a little bit too much, saying that he did it intentionally. You know, no one can mind read. I mean, some good old boys can mind read with that moonshine you good old boys sip on, but a lot of people can't mind read. I thought Pop was maybe grandstanding, trying to get some calls. In case it happens again, we know this time of the year, basketball, Big C, is going to be physical. I don't see the good old boy trying to stick his feet out and get his ankle stepped on, because he could have been injured too, Big C. Your thoughts on that?
Jonathan, that's an injury that has always occurred in the NBA. Players turning their ankle, stepping on someone else's foot. I know it's in the rule book that, you know, it should be a technical or flagrant foul in that scenario, but you can't judge intent when a player's playing. And I understood what Pop was doing. Pop was positioning himself with the officials to get some sympathetic calls to
exactly.
Even down the road, if there's a questionable situation, San Antonio will get the call from here on in, Charlton.
Yeah.
So that's what Pop was doing. This man is intelligent and savvy. It would be nice to see the President of the United States have the intelligent savviness of a Greg Popovich. I mean, our country would not be in disarray.
Well, it would be great to see Coach Popovich be the President of the United States. At least he's won something you had to compete for, Big C. I mean, 5 championships over the overall. He served our country in the military. He didn't run from war like Donald Trump did, even though he talks about dropping the mother of all bombs. That knucklehead, when he had a chance to go actually put on a uniform and fight for the country, he ran. I mean, he ran faster than Usain Bolt, Big C. I think he ran over 4 deferments, and now he wants to talk tough. But I think a lot of pressure is starting to tighten up on Donald Trump again. I don't want to see any of our presidents fall, but if you're crooked like Nixon, then you deserve what you get, Big C. I want to ask you this thought also. Kawhi Leonard's been, every athlete wants to play. There's no guarantee you're going to get back to the finals next year, even though under Pop, you have a good chance to. Do you put him out there tonight? He's still questionable, Big C. If he can play, and you know a lot of athletes, they have this thing called hurt no more. They can spray it on you, and you don't feel the pain. Is that something they take a chance with him tonight, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, they did an MRI on the ankle, and if there's no structural damage, I think it's at least an 80% chance that he'll play tonight. Whether he does or not, I don't know if they really have the chance with that breakneck speed that the Warriors can play with for Kawhi to keep up.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a great defensive, offensive, and motivational part of that San Antonio organization.
Yeah.
But as we spoke about earlier, Charlton, there are 5 other proven veterans that have to be grown men tonight. Okay?
Yeah.
You can't sit there and say if Kawhi Leonard is out here, the San Antonio Spurs, we don't stand a chance.
Yeah.
Like I said, they all make the same amount of money each game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they should all be equal in talent and grit. When it comes down to a game like this, Kawhi Leonard's check is no bigger than Patty Mills and Paul Gasol's check here in the playoffs, or even Danny Green.
Yeah.
No bigger than Steph Curry or Kevin Durant. It's all the same.
Okay.
So what you get out of players this time of the year, Charlton, is heart. Do you have the heart to play? Or are you going to act like that frog in the snowstorm, okay? And tighten up.
Let me ask you this question then. Because I like going to Las Vegas. In fact, I really love going now that I don't owe anybody any more money. Okay, Big C. But they got the line, tonight's line from Las Vegas, is only 13.5. The over-under is 208. Big C, the Warriors' average margin of victory is just 11.5 points. Even with Kawhi being out, they're only asking the Golden State to score 2 extra points in this game, which that seems like a setup to me, Big C, because this is a game, if you just look at the numbers, Golden State should probably easily win by 13.5. Why is the point spread so low without top players being in there, Big C?
Well, without Kawhi being in, you think about the point spread was 10 in the first game, Jonathan.
Yeah.
And Golden State won by just a mere 2 points.
Yeah.
They trailed by as many as 25. So Vegas was very comfortable in the point spread. And these point spreads are baiting point spreads in the playoffs.
Yeah.
When you think about it. I expect Golden State to win.
Yeah.
But can they cover the 13, Jonathan? They've had difficulty in this is not a mainstay for Golden State to have the chance to cover that. But, we talked about when they got the players that are not scoring.
Yeah.
We talked about Iguodala with the leg problem. We talked about Klay Thompson. He's only shooting like 40% from the floor here in the playoffs, Thompson. In his last 5 games, he has failed to score more than 15 points in any of those.
Yeah.
He's only 11 in Sunday's contest. And we talked about Draymond Green having a quadruple single.
Yeah. that's a new stat, Big C. The quadruple single, okay? Sounds like a hamburger you get down in South, Big C.
You'll hear it on all other sports stations when we're talking about the quadruple single.
Yeah.
Something that keep going at the quadruple single.
And with a side of moonshine is what I want. The quadruple single and a hint of moonshine on the side of my drink, Big C. That's what you're talking about? So now everybody's laughing and having a great time. And again, I still want to say the people from San Antonio, maybe they follow their leader, they follow Pop. They're not a lot of, I don't want to sound flippant, but they're intelligent fans, Big C. They're not just guys who want to know the score. And just talking to people, they're more involved with what's going on in the world of politics than you would think the people from the 49er organization are with what's going on in the world of politics, because political talk got Colin Kaepernick ostracized from the whole South Bay. And that's Silicon Valley, one of the richest regions in the world, Big C. But these good old boys out of San Antonio, Texas, of all places, contrast that to Silicon Valley, they seem more socially conscious than these good old boys that just don't know what's going on in the world, Big C. I want to ask you one thought on this game. Everybody's leading for Golden State to win tonight, and so am I. Remember Mike Tyson when he fought Buster Douglas and they gave him food poisoning over there across the seas, Big C? Any thoughts on food poisoning happening tonight, Big C?
That was kind of James Harden in that last game in San Antonio.
Yeah. Yeah.
James Harden reminded me of Mike Tyson versus Buster Douglas.
Yeah.
At the end of the game when he was searching around for his mouthpiece and couldn't find it.
Yeah.
After taking a couple of serious shots, from San Antonio.
Yeah.
But I don't see that tonight, Charlie. Golden State is such a powerful team at home and on the road, and they're at home right now.
Yeah.
They've been undefeated in the playoffs, and you don't get there by chance.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You don't stay undefeated by chance. You don't have the success that they've had over the past 4 years, really, not 3 but 4, prior to Steve Kerr getting there, that they've had. And you think about it, this is the first time in over a decade that you've had 2 teams with 60 wins meeting in a semifinal, okay?
Yeah. So that.
And so San Antonio is not a slouch.
No, not at all.
You just happen to be playing against a more superior organization right now.
Yeah.
And if anybody can beat Golden State in the semis, San Antonio can do it with Greg Popovich, Charles.
Yeah, he's a great coach, Big C. As you swing across the East Coast, Boston, I want to say Boston Garden, even though it's TD Garden. It doesn't sound the same. I still want to call that Boston Garden because I think of Johnny Most and the Celtics advance to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I know it didn't sound as choked up as I sound, Big C, but I really love the Boston environment, irrespective of some of the knuckleheads that shout out the N-word. But I do love the fact that that whole region, the New England region, to have that versus Cleveland, that's just a great environment. When they talk about the great Larry Bird, and you talked about some of the good old boys in the back, Danny Ainge and Kevin McHale, and good old boy with 14, he had 11 championships, one on his toes, and Russell, Big C. All them good old boys will be at the game watching the great LeBron. They'll be at the game. I don't know if Larry Bird's going to go, but he probably will, Big C. But just to have the opticals, like when the Lakers are in the championships, they have the good old boys, Kareem and Worthy and Scott and Magic all around, and then you have all the movie stars. Boston doesn't have movie stars, but it does have those great players. The optics is what's going to look good in this series also. But what happened with Washington last night, Big C?
What happened with Washington is what goes non-wall disappeared. You kind of wonder.
Yeah.
Here's a guy who didn't score a point in the last 14 minutes of the game, Jonathan. This guy is a budding superstar, and everybody's thinking, even myself, he's probably the second best player in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
The second best player in the Eastern Conference should show up.
Yeah.
John Wall was abysmal last night when it counted the most, when his team needed it. Boston, they had 45 points from their bench last night. That was the difference in the game. And when you can get that type of productivity from your bench, you're not going to lose a game. Isaiah Thomas still had his stellar performance at point guard. This little man is just uncanny, Joe.
Yeah.
He does it all. And
hold on, Big C. We're out here on the West Coast. What in the world is a water bug, Big C?
Come fishing with me sometime.
Okay.
And the perch. That's what they're trying to get away. And a crappie every now and
Okay.
then. But, as he's slithering around,
Yeah.
I guess you people would understand what snakes are and stuff, right?
Yeah, in the White House, that kind of snake, Big C. Okay, Thomas did have a great game. I still think just a couple of seasons ago, he was up in Northern California playing for the Sacramento Kings. He had 29 points and 12 assists last night. The good old boy, Kelly Olynyk, that guy had 26 points with a ponytail. People keep making fun of his ponytail. This is a guy that normally hurts people. I think he hurt Kevin Love last year, Big C. What's up with him knocking down 26 points, Big C?
Well, Jonathan, he was hot from three. He just had a hot hand last night.
Yeah.
And so, when you think about that, Jonathan, you never know who should be the guy in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You always have your superstars on a roster, but it's that guy when we talk about the bench scorer who's going to rise up all of a sudden, get you that 20 points that you weren't expecting. And that's what Olynyk did last night.
Yeah.
In scoring those points. He gave Boston the firepower that they weren't expecting. You have your steadies that you're always going to go, like your old girlfriend. You always knew she was there. Olynyk showed up last night looking real pretty.
Yeah.
Last night was all-star caliber.
Yeah, that's funny when you talk about old girlfriends. Can you imagine how many people right now have the old girlfriend calling to see if she can get tickets to TD Garden to see the Celtics play the Cavaliers now? There's a lot of phone bills being used right now, seeing if they can get back with that old flame just so they can sit courtside, Big C. Anyone trying to get tickets for you to go up to Boston, Big C, your thoughts?
I don't even know what Boston is, so I've heard about the place. Our boats can't get across the land to get up there. I know they got some water on the ocean, but I'm a lot of sea savvy, so
Yeah.
I'm going to stay out of Boston.
Well, when you're up there, there's a place called Cape Cod. Them good old boys go up there and they get crap, Big C, which used to be a poor man's food, but now they say it's an expensive man's food, so things change with the season. Want to touch a little bit also on the NHL, Big C. We have the Eastern Conference and Western Conference, Anaheim and Nashville all knotted up, Pittsburgh and Ottawa. Oh, Canada! Canada's still trying to get a piece of Lord Stanley's Cup, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Canada's a little confused right now, Jonathan. They want Ottawa to advance, but they don't want you to sing. They want Ottawa to advance. They want Jonathan to
You think
Ottawa, holds a whole entire nation on its back.
Yeah.
They're the nation's capital team.
Yeah.
In Ottawa, Ontario.
Yeah.
So, they're 1-1 with the Penguins. The Penguins, are led by Sidney Crosby, who has been a powerhouse in the NHL for the past decade. Sid's always been considered he's the LeBron of the NHL.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But we got the Predators out west, Jonathan, playing the Ducks.
No, Donald Trump's in the White House. Don't be putting out. He's not coming out here, Big C. He don't even do fundraisers in California. Go right ahead, C.
I didn't mean that type of
Oh, okay. Yeah, Bill O'Reilly got fired.
We're not talking about a team.
All right, Z.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about true predators with the saber tooth, and will eat a duck.
Yeah.
We've seen that happen. So, you would think that the Predators would have this advantage because they're playing with house money.
Yeah.
This is no man's land where they've never been. Anaheim, probably with the worst record in the NHL of the last 14 standing. But the Predators have something special working this year, Jonathan.
Yeah.
So I still like their chances to make it to Stanley's Cup.
Yeah.
It would be nice to see Predators and Ottawa playing in the finals, Jonathan.
Well, Big C, the pressure they must feel up there in Canada is the same pressure I feel to sing the national anthem. I think Big C Sports is the only USA sports station that sings the national anthem for Canada because we appreciate your health care for all your citizens up there. I do want to say that sports is a $1 billion industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this $1 billion industry. You get it through Big C Sports, through Ben and Mark. We've been around half a century, Big C, whether it's the NFL, the NHL, our pro athletes, collegiate athletes, even your high school athletes or your mom and pop soccer leagues. We do it worldwide, Big C. We do it in most countries, but we're in all 50 states in the United States. Tune out to Big C Sports on the iHeart Radio Network. Big C, you brought up something when you mentioned the Predators. Did you ever see this commercial? There were some good old boys sitting around a dinner table for lunch, and they had an alligator. and they all had roasted duck. When it was time to get the bill, the alligator said, "I'll pay," but his arms were too short, Big C, so he reached out and grabbed it with his beak. Is that what Donald Trump's doing to anyone that wants to turn dime on him in the White House, Big C?
You think about Donald. He hasn't paid a whole lot of bills in the past. He
Yeah.
left a lot of business people stranded, so he's had alligator arms for a long, long time. Right now, he's got that crocodile mouth and that chihuahua behind.
Yeah, brother.
Crocodile mouth is writing a check that his chihuahua behind can't cash.
That's so
And
funny.
he doesn't realize he can't fly everybody. So there's some people out there that can come and get him.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be a beautiful day. I'm wondering what the Republicans are going to do at that point. Are they going to run and scatter? And how will Fox News cover it?
Oh, man.
How will Fox say that, the mainstream media is after Donald Trump?
Yeah.
For lying and getting caught lying and obstruction of justice. That's not the mainstream media creating that. Donald Trump has let out all of these hits from the White House. He's been the source of leaks.
Yeah.
And the tweets that he sends out. He's incriminating himself. So you cannot blame the media for reporting what they hear and see, Jonathan.
Yeah.
This is Donald Trump. Being the buffoon that he has always been in life, it's just now it's world focused on him.
You know, it reminds me of that good old boy down south when you got these married guys that have girlfriends, and the girlfriend and the wife find out about each other, Big C, and that good old boy that was lying about not having a mistress, he leaves with the girlfriend instead of the wife. Donald Trump kicked out the FBI guy and he brought the Russians into the White House. That just, even dumb people say, well, that don't look right. Okay, but he did it anyway, Big C. I just thought that was crazy. And also, thinking of back to the world of sports, you talk about something happening with the draft, and I know so many people put a lot of thought into who's going to be drafted, and they talk about the Celtics having one of the top picks in Phoenix Suns and the LA Lakers and the 76ers. No matter who you look at, Big C, Boston's in a pretty good spot. I think because of a trade that happened with that good old boy back in the day. The truth, Big C, your thoughts?
It is. Boston has a high percentage of getting the number one overall pick, Jonathan.
Yeah.
The Lakers are the team that really have to be worried. If they don't get one this year, they don't have a number one pick for the next 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the cornerstone of their franchise if they can get one of the top 3 lottery picks, which they're hoping for. But I still think that the Lakers' history is surrounded by Paul George.
Yeah.
The NBA draft is always great. It's a turkey shoot. I mean, look at the 76ers.
Yeah.
They've been picking the number one pick for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And they only won 28 games last year. They're 28-54. So it doesn't always prove that it's going to lend success to your organization. And you think about it, Joel Embiid, Nerlens Noel, and Ben Simmons all were hurt as rookies.
Yeah.
So they lost their rookie year. Only Okafor has played of the last 4 number one picks that the Sixers have had. They've only had the little Okafor that played any length of time.
Yeah.
So it's not guaranteed that it's going to turn around an organization. It's always that anticipated hype from that number one draft pick. But Charlton, I'd like to go out and free agent and get a guy who's used to playing in the league.
Yeah.
Who has that league mentality and savvy that I can get instant productivity still from instead of that gaga rookie who is all starstruck by all his money in his pocket and him trying to take care of everybody he's always known in his life.
And when you think about it, we just finished talking about Coach Pop and how great he's been, 20 years in a row into the NBA playoffs. They don't worry about who's going to be the first pick or the top guy in the college basketball draft. Golden State's not concerned with it. The Cleveland Cavaliers are not concerned with it.
Think about this. When he drafted Kawhi Leonard, did anybody know Kawhi Leonard out of San Diego State?
No.
Everybody questions that draft pick when he drafted Kawhi Leonard. Look at Golden State.
Yeah.
Who knew who Steph Curry was out of Davidson? Everybody like, that's a wasted pick at number 7.
Yeah.
Okay? Who's crying now? But, I want to make this point about the lottery.
Yeah.
The lottery has been going on. The first lottery was the New York Knicks winning that lottery and drafted Patrick Ewing, okay?
Yeah.
Now, there's 2 lotteries that I know have been fixed by the NBA, okay?
Yeah.
And that was that first lottery with the Knicks getting Patrick Ewing, okay?
Yeah.
Ironic, you're getting Patrick Ewing. You're the cornerstone franchise of the NBA in the largest market.
Yeah.
And you need something to turn your franchise around. You happen to win the first lottery.
Yeah.
The next time, you got this kid from your hometown who declared for the draft out of high school.
Yeah.
Ironically,
Yeah.
and you get LeBron James.
Yeah.
Now, there's no damn coincidence in those two drafts, Charlie. Those two drafts were fixed by David Stern
Yeah.
to put players in the market to help revitalize those teams and the profits of the NBA. Not bad for the NBA, but David Stern had something to do with those two drafts, Charlie.
Yeah, and that's why I think the LA Lakers will end up with Paul George are somewhat significant, irrespective of what happens with the draft. Those draft kids, they're not going to come in and win your championship. They're going to need some veteran players. That's how the Lakers have always done it. They always trade for top players. I think James Worthy was a good trade they had too, Big C. But all these...
Johnson was the last overall number 1 pick that instantly gave them a championship. Worthy just happened to inherit
Yeah.
a great team. You look at the players that were there when Worthy showed up.
Yeah.
Magic showed up, they hadn't won a championship. When Magic got there, they won a championship under Paul Westhead
Yeah.
as head coach. So, you know, but they had Kareem in place. They had Norm Nixon.
Yeah.
They had Jamal Wilkes. They had players. They had a cast of people. So he didn't come in and do it by himself. He had to adapt to the environment, and he had veterans, Charlton, a great veteran core that helped Magic maturate when he came into the NBA.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Big C. So the big markets need teams to win, and if you get LA has to be relevant for the NBA. If not, you're losing the number 2 media market in the country. If you look on the East Coast, you still have, whether it's Washington back right now this year, you have Boston. The Knicks, we know they're a story because they're the number 1 market, but you got to find a way to have the big markets having big teams. Big C, as we touch a little bit, and tonight just being here in Oakland again, I think about some of the great players, and you just brought that up, you know, with the Lakers down south, but up here up north, I think they have their own history, some of the great players. I know being down south, Big C, what's the image of Golden State basketball from down south? Them good old boys, I know you guys like to watch a lot of football, but what do they think about Golden State in the history, the way they do the Lakers down south, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, you know, people have been enamored with Golden State the past couple of years, Charlton, because of their style of basketball.
Yeah.
And they've gotten so much notoriety. You know, the one thing about the West Coast, East Coast, is that people have gone to bed out here generally when Golden State is played.
Yeah.
But Golden State has kept a lot of people up late night because of their style and brand of basketball.
Yeah.
That breakneck speed that they run with, Charlton, and put so many points on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
For instance, you get a lot of these teams, Charlton, that play that slow down basketball, that set it up.
Yeah.
Let's go to the four corners. Let's do a lot of pick and roll. Let's try to get an easy shot. Golden State just breaks it down and takes a shot.
Yeah.
All of them are easy for them, as long as they can launch the basketball. And so that's exciting. Remember a week or so ago when we made that revelation in a comparison to the running rebels of UNLV, coached under the late Jerry Tarkanian.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry Tarkanian coached down in San Antonio before Popovich showed up. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
So he has ties not only with college basketball, but with the NBA and the San Antonio Spurs. He spent a couple years down there as a head coach. He did not have the success
Yeah.
in the NBA as he did in college, but he also made an impact, though, Charlton. So that legacy in San Antonio goes way back when you think about the people that have been involved there. You know, years ago, San Antonio had the same type of offense that Golden State had. You
Yeah.
know, when the Lakers were the kings of the Western Division in the NBA.
Yeah.
When they had the Iceman George Gervin, they had Mike Mitchell playing forward. These two men can fill it up at any time. So San Antonio understands what the history of Golden State is because they ran that same history back in the 70s and early 80s, Charlton.
Yeah, and that's amazing too because the history on the West Coast, you really just think the Lakers, you think Golden State, even though up and down the West Coast, we know the franchise left to OKC from Seattle, but you got Portland, which does have a championship way back in the day, and then you have the Clippers. No matter how good they are, they're still like they're like the girlfriend, and the Lakers are the wife. Now, some of the girlfriends that I hear about, I mean, I know people who watch the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and there's also one called the Husbands of Beverly Hills, Big C. It's always the ex-wife or the girlfriend that thinks she has everything the wife has, but the wife has the house, the girlfriend gets the credit cards. Is that how the Lakers are compared to the Clippers? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, the Lakers are the staple of LA.
Yeah.
As the Lakers go, LA goes basketball mentality-wise.
Yeah.
That's why it's imperative that the Lakers get a good pick tonight in the draft, as well as make a solid free agent move or trade. And mainly Paul George is a name that keeps rising up, Charlton.
Yeah.
And he's also the guy that can bring that organization back to prominence instantly because he's that established NBA superstar that you need.
Yeah.
he's gone.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to get other players come. I guarantee if Paul George goes to the Lakers, Carmelo Anthony will be on the next plane out there, okay?
Oh, man.
So you'll have two offensive scorers instantly in L.A. Carmelo will take the second fiddle to Paul George. He won't demand the basketball all the time. He will become that consummate team player once again. And the Lakers have enough pieces in play with Paul George and Carmelo Anthony to be back in contention to win 50-plus games in the Western Division next year, Charlton.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. We'll close out as we get ready for the Golden State Warriors and the San Antonio Spurs from Oakland. Just want to get about a minute or two on some baseball. Mike Trout down south, keeping it in California. That good old boy's hit 4 home runs in the last 4 games, Big C. Your thoughts? He's looking like Major League Baseball MVP, Big C, not the good old boys from Washington. Your thoughts, Big C?
Well, everybody talks about Bryce Harper and the $28 million contract he got a couple of days ago, Charlton. But Mike Trout, hands down, is the best player in baseball in the last 5 years, Charlton. Without a doubt. You know, Bryce Harper's a media darling. He knows how to smooth with the camera. But, you know, you got Mike Trout out in Anaheim, twirling in no man's land, okay?
Yeah.
In his 5-year career, he's been MVP twice in the American League, Charlton. So this man has no equals as far as what he's done. And in the last 4 games, he's hit a home run in each one of those, Charlton. And he's going to continue that streak tonight by hitting his 5th in 5 games.
Yeah.
But Mike Trout goes out every night and makes spectacular plays. It's what I said a moment ago about the West Coast.
Yeah.
The East Coast doesn't get a chance to see him because when you got an 8 o'clock start time, 7 o'clock start time,
Yeah.
people are going to bed because they got to go to work.
Yeah.
And we know the lengthy time of a baseball game, so by the time that a game ends in California at 10 o'clock at night, it's 1 o'clock on the East Coast, so you got to be a pure purist to want to sit up and watch games that late at night.
Yeah.
But Mike Trout, Major League Baseball, is doing Mike Trout and Major League Baseball a disservice.
Yeah.
He needs to be put in a larger market, Charlton, where his talents can be shown and displayed for those fans out there in Major League Baseball. You should not be devoid of the best talent in the game where you don't get a chance to see him on television and you rarely get a chance to see him in person, Charlton.
Yeah, and one of the greatest things, not great, but Jose Canseco's back in baseball, working with the Oakland A's in the media department. Also, Barry Bonds back over with the Giants. A lot of good old boys coming back to the game, even though they were the part of the big scandal crew. All that scandal with the steroids and all the accusations. You know, Jose told on everybody. He was like the guy that dropped a dime in the White House, Big C.
The steroid scandal will never stop. Look at Maria Sharapova.
Yeah.
You know, one of the top tennis players in the world was banned last year for using steroids, and she knew it. She knew she was using them.
Oh, yeah.
And just today, the French tennis minister, Charles, banned her from the French Open.
Wow.
It would be unfair and unjust that players who have worked hard and stayed clean would have to compete against her, and she would get an exemption to be able to play because she hasn't qualified, she hasn't played enough. But he denied her the exemption, which I applaud him.
Yeah.
I applaud him because this is that blonde-haired, blue-eyed person that's getting so much social advantage all the time.
Yeah.
He says, no, not in my city, not in my sport.
Well,
you're a man. And I praise the French minister for doing that.
Yeah, well, she could always find a job in the Donald Trump White House because that's the profile of everybody that he brings with that clan over there at Big C. Your final thoughts, Big C, in the final minute. What are you looking forward to tonight's big game over here at Golden State? Again, 13.5 points. That seems like it's not enough, but I've learned my lesson dealing with those good old boys down in Vegas, Big C. Your thoughts on the game tonight?
Well, Charlton, this is a must-win game from both sides. If Golden State goes up 2-0, this is a very short series.
Yeah.
If San Antonio could find a way to win this game, now they get the home court advantage because the next two are in San Antonio. And you give Kawhi Leonard a few days off and a chance to heal that ankle a little more.
Yeah.
But you got to look at it from this aspect, Charlton. Over the last 7 days, he's injured that ankle on 3 separate occasions.
Yeah.
So we don't know what the extent of that injury and the health of that ankle is going to be.
Yeah.
Golden State cannot continue to be as poor offensively as they were in Game 1. We talked about Thompson shooting at 40%.
Yeah.
Draymond Green having a quadruple, triple, or single. Okay?
Yeah, quadruple single.
Quadruple single.
A triple single, yeah, a triple single.
Category, quadruple single.
Yeah.
So Iguodala has been hurting a little bit, but Durant and Curry,
Yeah.
I think everybody on Golden State had a dunk the other day.
Yeah.
So, even Steph had a dunk. Kevin Durant had several of them.
Yeah.
All right, so when you sit there and say they're just a three-point shooting team, love Charles, respect Charles in every capacity. But Charles, you still haven't won a damn championship.
Yeah, he said that he going to the same restaurant Donald Trump's been going to, Big C. I just want to say that in your final 30 seconds, who do you think would be? You've watched the alpha males, no matter how great they are, whether it's Curry or Durant or Thompson, or if it's Iguodala or even Draymond Green. Who would be the number one player in the universe for the Golden State Warriors, alpha male style? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Steph Curry is always the man who everybody points at, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Regardless of what's going on, he's relentless. If he's hitting it, he's hitting it. If he's missing, he's still shooting, Jonathan.
Yeah.
This is a man without a conscience when the basketball is in his hand. He knows for him to be successful, he has to continuously go after the basket. And Eric Tarkanian keeps coming to mind because that's what he told his players. Just keep shooting.
Yeah.
You can't miss everything.
Well, that's true.
Keep shooting. Eventually they'll start falling. And we saw that Steph Curry the other day in the third quarter.
Yeah.
He just kept shooting. All of a sudden, 19 points. Went away.
Well, Big C, we'll keep shooting too every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide on the iHeart Radio Network, the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports have been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C, them good old boys. As we always say, there's never any excuse for domestic violence. Just call 911 if somebody's going through that garbage. And as we always tell you for every program, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.